Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please remember to subscribe. I am Purity and today we are crocheting this beautiful skirt. It has a ribbing at the waist and it has this beautiful slit at the bottom, and this is the close-up. As I said, it has the ribbing at the waist. Then I went ahead and did increases all the way to the hips measurement. Then I did my beautiful slit. Please remember to subscribe to my channel and let's get started with the work. I am using thin yarn. That means I will double my yarn to get the medium weight effect, and this is 100% acrylic yarn and each yarn is 50 grams. I'll use maroon yarn and blue yarn. Blue yarn is also 50 grams each and it's thin yarn. I will double my yarn too, and it is 100% acrylic yarn. You'll need stitch markers, a tape measure, a pair of scissors, a 3.0 mm hook is what I'm using to crochet. Okay, and to begin this work you're going to work starting from the waistband going downwards, and I'm using a 3.0 mm hook. To begin on your waistband you'll need to create a slip knot, and this is how I create my slip knot, and I am chaining 15. Okay, create a slip knot, then you chain 15. 15 is the width of our waistband. If you need a longer width of your waistband you can do 20, but for my size the width is 15 chains. I am done with my first 15 chains. Chain one more to make it 16, and we are going through the 15 chains with single crochets. Okay, I just skip the first stitch, then go to the second stitch, and we are working with single crochets across all the 15 chains. I will meet you at the end of this first row of single crochets. I am done, and this is how my first row looks. And to begin the second row you will chain one, turn your work, and now we are working with single crochets in the back loop only. Okay, the second row is single crochets in the back loop only, and we'll work across all the 15 stitches. Please remember we are working with single crochets in the back loop only, and I will meet you at the end of your row. I am done with the row. Chain one to begin the next row, turn your work, and again we are working with single crochets in the back loop only. So this is the pattern of the waistband, and please note we are working like this until your waistband perfectly fits your waist. Okay, and to get the perfect waistband measurement, make sure as you chain you stretch your work until it stretches to your waist measurements. Okay, and please remember we are working with single crochets in the back loop only. At the end of the row you chain one and you turn your work, and it's the same pattern, which is single crochets in the back loop only until you get to your waist measurements. So I will meet you once you're done with your waistband. Okay. I am done with my waistband and this is how it looks. My waist measurement is 25 inches and this stretches to 25 inches. Mark you, my work is folded into 2 and this goes to 11 inches. So 11 by 2 is 22. That means it stretches to my waist measurement, and my waist measurement is 25 inches. As you can see, this stretches all the way. Okay, so once you have your waistband in place, we will join the beginning to the end using single crochets. But before that, you chain one first, then you join this side to the other side, and by joining you can either use a darning needle or your hook using single crochets. Okay, so for the first stitch, you're going to insert your hook on this other side, then join like that using a slip knot. Okay, remember you chained one, then you join using a slip knot, you chain one, and now we want to join using single crochet. Insert your hook from this side and get out from the other side and finish up by doing a single crochet like that. And we are working single crochets across all the stitches, and that's how we join. I will meet you at the end of this row of joining. Okay, I am done joining my work and this is how it looks. Remember, this will be the inside part of your dress, of your skirt, sorry, and the outside part will look like this. Okay, once you're done joining, we are now starting to work on the body of the skirt. You will chain 2 and then you will turn your work like this. Now we are working on the right side. Once you have chained 2 and turn your work, we will start by doing a row of double crochets. Please remember to do a double crochet. You yarn over first and you're going in each stitch, and we will do a row of double crochets across all the stitches that you've got, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. Okay? Okay, I'm at the end here. Once you get to the end here, we are joining using a slip stitch. Go on top of the chain 2 that we did and join using a slip stitch like that. Then you chain 2, turn your work, and the second row is also a row of double crochets across all the stitches that you have. Okay, so we're just doing double crochets for the second row 2. Okay, but before we continue, we have to put stitch markers to mark where we'll be doing our increases so that we get to our hips measurements. Okay, so find the sides of your skirt. Where we joined is the middle of our skirt. This is the middle of our skirt, and now we have to find the sides of our skirt. So you'll find the sides of your skirt. You can count stitches to be accurate, and then put a stitch marker on one side of your skirt and another stitch marker on the other side of our skirt. The stitch markers will help us know once we get to where we are doing our increases. Now we're working on the body of the skirt, which is the hips area. Okay, we are done with the waist area. Now we are at the hips area. So we are continuing with our row of double crochets until we get to our first stitch marker, and that is where we will do our first increase. So I will meet you at the first stitch marker. I am at the stitch marker. Once you get to the stitch marker, remove the stitch marker, and we are doing 3 double crochets in 1 stitch. Okay, that is our first increase, which is 3 double crochets in 1 stitch, like that. Okay, once you're done, we'll take your stitch marker and put it in the middle stitch. The middle stitch is the second stitch that we did. Please always put your stitch marker in the second stitch, and then we continue with the pattern, which is double crochets in every stitch, and I will meet you once we are at our second stitch marker so that you can do another increase. I am at the second stitch marker. Remove the stitch marker, and please remember we are putting 3 double crochets in the same stitch. That is how we do the increases. Okay, it is 3 double crochets in 1 stitch, and always put back your stitch marker in the second stitch. Okay, please note it's always put back in the second stitch, like that, and then we continue with the pattern, which is double crochets, and I will meet you at the end of the row where we join using slip stitch. Okay, we are at the end here, and please remember at the end here we join using a slip stitch like that, and then you chain 2, turn your work, and we are going on the 3rd row, and on this 3rd row we are working with double crochets still, but the only difference is when we get to the stitch marker there is no increasing at the stitch marker. Okay, on this pattern, on this skirt, we will be increasing on alternative rows. So row 1 we did an increase. On this 2nd row there will be no increase. I will meet you at the stitch marker. I am here at the stitch marker. Once you're here, you remove your stitch marker. Please note we are not increasing on this row, so just put 1 double crochet where there was a stitch marker, like that, and then return your stitch marker in the same stitch, and then we will continue with the pattern until we get to the 2nd stitch marker, and the pattern is a row of double crochets. So please remember, row 1 increase, row 2 no increase. Okay, I will meet you at the other stitch marker. I am at the 2nd stitch marker. Remove it, and I'm hoping you still remember on this row it is a row of no increase. So you put back your stitch marker once you're done with that 1 double crochet. Okay, and then we continue with the pattern, which is single crochets, and I will meet you at the end of this 2nd row. Okay, I'm at the end here, and remember at the end here we join using a slip stitch like this on top of chain 2, and then you chain 2, turn your work, and we are doing a row of double crochets. Please note on this new row it is a row of increasing. Okay, as I said, row 1 was a row of increase, row 2 no increase, row 3 it will be a row of increases, and we are going to work like this until your skirt fits your hips measurement. So you have to take your hips measurement. As you increase, you keep on measuring your skirt until it fits your hips measurement. Okay, I'm at the stitch marker, and please remember we are doing an increase. Remove your stitch marker, and for the increase we are putting 3 double crochets in 1 stitch. That is the first double crochet. Go in the same stitch and put a second double crochet and a third stitch in the same space like that. Okay, then you take your stitch marker and always put it in the second double crochet. Okay, like that, lock it in, and then you'll continue the pattern, which is double crochets, until you get to your second stitch marker, and on the second stitch marker we will be doing an increase. I hope you understand this, and that is the pattern, and you're going to work like that until your skirt fits perfectly your hips measurements. And please remember, as you work, you stretch your work, so your work should stretch to your hips measurements. Okay, this is how my work looks. I went ahead and just did 3 rows of the blue yarn, and this is 15 inches. If I stretch my work, it stretches to my hips measurements. Okay, and my hips measurements is 38 inches, so my work will stretch to my hips measurements. You can see my work stretches to my hips measurements. So once your work stretches to your hips measurements, you will go ahead and remove the stitch markers. Okay, just remove the stitch markers, and from now on we will do rows of double crochets all round without increasing. And please remember always to chain 2 and turn your work once you join using a slip stitch. And I'm just doing 4 more rows, and then we will start working on the slit area. Please remember, right now we are not increasing, it's just normal double crochets all round until where you want your slit to start from. Okay, we now want to put the slit, and my work is 13 inches length. Remember, I'm working on a short skirt. You can make your skirt longer if you want to. Mine is 13 inches as for now, and I want to now start working on the skirt. Okay, so from now on we are working on the slit. This is how my work looks. Okay, find the middle of your skirt, and that is the middle of my skirt, and I'm trying to find where I want to put my slit. My slit would be on front and just on the side of my thighs. This is the side of my thighs. Remember, you can put your slit anywhere you want. So I'm just trying to find the exact position, and I will put it here, not in the middle, but on my thigh area. Okay, so I'll just mark there with a stitch marker like this, and then we will continue working with the double crochets. So once you find the perfect place for your stitch, for your slit, sorry, you'll continue the pattern, which is double crochets. Okay, once your stitch marker is in the correct place, you will come and continue with the pattern, but please remember here where we have been joining using a slip knot. Let me zoom in. So here is where we have been joining using a slip knot and start of a new row. Okay, you will join using a slip knot as usual, chain 2, 1, 2, but now we are not turning. Instead, we are continuing with the pattern, which is double crochets. Okay, do not turn once you start working on the slit area. We are doing normal double crochets after slip stitch, chain 2, and continue with normal double crochets until you get to the stitch marker, and I'll meet you once you're at the stitch marker to work on the slit area. Okay, yeah, so we are here at the stitch marker, and we are now turning from here. Chain 2 and you turn your work. Okay, once you turn your work, skip the first stitch, go to the second stitch and do a double crochet, and we will work double crochets all round until we get to the stitch marker again. Okay, right now we are turning from the stitch marker. That is how we create the slit. Okay, I'm at the stitch marker again, chain 2. So I'm just doing my last stitch here. Then you chain 2 and turn. Remember, there is no joining because we are creating the slit area. Okay, so that's how we work on the slit, and you will work like this until you want, up to where you want your skirt to reach. For me, my skirt is 18 inches and my slit area is only 4 inches long. So that is how we make the slit area. Please remember, we are not joining. Instead, we chain 2 and turn. Okay, so that is the pattern, and I will meet you once you are done with your slit area. As you can see, it's coming along well. Please remember to chain 2 and turn your work. I'll meet you once you are done. I am done, and this is how my skirt looks. It's so beautiful. The only thing remaining now is to do the ribbing on the slit area and round the skirt. And as I said, my skirt is 18 inches long, as you can see. So now we want to reattach our yarn at one end here, and then I will do edging using single crochets, and I am using the blue yarn to do the edging. And to do the edging, I'm just going all around the skirt using single crochets like this, and that is how we make this beautiful skirt. I'm using single crochets to do the edging of the skirt, and I decided to use the blue yarn. I'm done, and this is how my skirt looks. I really love it so much. I'm hoping you enjoyed this tutorial. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next video. I love you so much. Goodbye.